Hey everybody, Adam Bays with Amet Business Group. Thanks for hanging in there for the first, second, and third training course. This is the last one, email marketing to your leads. This is basically about when you already have your leads that you've gotten through your Facebook marketing, what do you do with them then, right? You got to do something with them. You got to cultivate them. You got to turn them into customers. So how do we do that? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, here we go. So let's go through a couple key points here. This is what we're going to talk about in this PowerPoint. We got subject line, best email message, what should I say, email campaign, when to close, and quality or quantity. Let's get into it. All right, your subject line. This is something that for the ages people have been arguing about. What should you put in a subject line? What's the most important thing to convey? What's going to make people open it? Because we all understand if it's not a good subject line or it's not compelling for someone to open it, they're not going to open it. So you've lost that opportunity, right? So it's clearly incredibly important to have the right subject line. Here's my pointers on the subject line. So number one, you need to invoke curiosity. It's real obvious what that means. I probably don't need to explain it, but the person looking at that email, it has to look like there's something that they need to know, right? It's not, no one needs to see an advertisement. No one needs to see the sales that are going on or the discount at Kohl's Shopping Center, right? That's stuff that if they happen to be looking for it, maybe they'll open the email. If you really want to increase your chance of them opening the email, you got to put some sort of curiosity factor. I have here feel compelled. It's kind of the same thing, right? So they're curious. They feel like they need to open that email, right? So having them feel compelled is the other point. And lastly, conversation extension. Now, what do I mean by that? So the way I craft my subject lines are very simple, right? And they invoke curiosity. They feel, they make the user or the person that's getting the email feel compelled to open it. And they're a conversation extension. And what conversation extension means, you almost want to make the subject line as if it's pertaining to something that had already happened or that was in the middle of happening previously, right? So when you do that, maybe the email says, oh, I forgot to give you this, or, oh, here's that thing we were talking about, or hey, John, here, don't forget to grab this that we talked about, or hey, quick question on what you told me yesterday. These are things that, number one, it invokes curiosity, so it's telling the person that gets that email, like, oh, did I talk to this guy yesterday? Or, oh, did I sign up for something and didn't get it? Or, oh, was I waiting for something? That's a curiosity factor, right? It's a no-brainer, right? It makes people feel, number two, compelled to open it. Like, I better open this because maybe I was waiting for something, or maybe I told somebody I would do something, or it just kind of, they're confused and they're curious to what it is, and they feel compelled like they need to open it. And it's not salesy, where it's saying, hey, open for your 20% coupon. Like, those things don't work anymore. The conversation extension is just that. You want to make that subject line feel like it's part of an extension from a previous conversation or a previous dealing or something you were previously doing. And that right there will invoke that curiosity and they'll feel compelled to open it. Let's go to the next one. Best email style, right? So there's a lot of question again about what kind of email should you send, okay? Plain text, period. I could go on forever to explain why. The bottom line is this. You don't want your email to them to feel like a big fat commercial or billboard. That's not what makes people compelled to read it. It actually turns people off. So there's been study after study proven that people that are opening these beautifully graphic-filled, gorgeous emails are hitting a trash can, or they're hitting the spam or junk email button. People aren't interested in that unless they're specifically looking or waiting for it. Perfect example, I had a customer of mine that we were talking about the types of emails that they open. They say, hey, look, Bed Bath & Beyond sends a 20% coupon. I wait for that coupon because my wife loves that coupon. So when something arrives in his inbox that says, hey, your 20% coupon, he's all over it, right? Because he knows that's coming. He's excited for it coming. And as soon as he sees that, he opens it, right? That's not what we're doing here, okay? We don't have that sort of built-in loyalty because of a big box brand store, right? We don't. What we have is our ability to build relationships. And that starts with plain text. If you were getting an email from your brother, your sister, your mom, your coworker, your boss, what would it look like, right? It would be a handwritten email. Hey, Mary, how you doing? Wanted to talk to you about whatever. That's what the email would look like. It wouldn't be full of graphics and pictures of kids playing and all this kind of stuff. So why do you think someone is going to feel compelled to read that email when it looks like that? So number one, plain text from a friend. That's what I tell people. Think about an email that's coming from a friend or a family. What would it look like, right? What would they put in it? More importantly, what would they not put in it? Short and sweet. We don't want length, right? You don't want an email to open up and they see, even if it's plain text and looks like it's written by your friend, there's a lot of times friends of mine send me long emails. And if I don't have the time, boom, I put it off till later, right? So short and sweet. That's what we want in an email. Get right to the point. Let's go to the next one. What should I say? All right. So in these emails, what you want to do is tell a story. Okay. And when I say story, that doesn't mean it has to be paragraphs long. But when I say story, it means you want to take whatever you're trying to accomplish and you want to wrap a personal spin around it from you. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be your experience. If you're selling life insurance, it doesn't have to be something that happened to you, but it could be something that happened to a client of yours. It could be something that happened to your friend of yours. And it just needs to be relative to what you're trying to get across in that email, right? Which brings me to the next check mark, which is offer value. So people are conditioned to delete and throw emails into spam that are too salesy, right? The ones that are actually offering some value tend to stay around longer. The campaigns last longer because they're thinking, oh, this guy is just providing this to me. One of these times he's going to send me something that maybe I really need or that I connect with, so I'm not going to delete this email or unsubscribe to this, right? Because there is offer being here. Maybe not on this email, but maybe another email. So offering value might be providing, let's say if you're doing life insurance, maybe the 3 top life insurance products or the 3 benefits from a whole life life insurance product or living benefits, why they're important, or something like that. Just not like, hey, you need to get it because, but more like, hey, Mr. Customer, I just wanted to point out to you, we have these programs that have been incredibly popular lately. I want to just share with you the top 3 things that people are asking me and show those answers because I know it's on a lot of people's mind. Just something like that. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot an email to me. That's it, right? It's not a give and take here. It's a give. You're giving. And what you're doing is you're building that trust, you're building that relationship. So at some point he's going to say, you know what, I have a little bit of time. Let me shoot this guy an email. Or let me ask this question, right? Or a friend mentioned something to him and, you are his resource because he sees those emails coming in. Hey, John, just real quick, I know you've been sending me all these emails, but how difficult is it to get a whole life product? Or how long do I need to keep it? Or hey, how long is the policy good for? Is it good for the rest of my life? That's when you start reaping the benefits of those relationships. The last check mark here is ABC versus not ABC. So for those dedicated salespeople out there, I'm sure most of you know, but ABC, always be closing, right? So the question is, always be closing or not always be closing? Well, the answer to that question is very simple. Everything you're doing is closing, right? But in these campaigns, the goal of these individual emails are not about closing business. They're about closing trust and relationships so you can get business down the line. Because the idea is, as you're filling this funnel with customers, Sometimes it's going to take weeks, sometimes it'll take months, but it's just compounding and compounding and compounding. And as this funnel begins to grow and gets bigger and bigger, and these emails continue to go, the corner starts turning and you start seeing leads become customers. And that's what it's all about. But you got to gain the trust, you got to keep them in your funnel, and you got to keep providing that value so that they eventually come back and want to do business with you. So to answer ABC versus not ABC, it's always ABC, but not necessarily a product. Always close on the relationship, and as you go through this funnel, it will eventually, just by nature, begin closing on the product. All right, email campaign. So that's what we've been talking about this whole time, right? So what we've talked about so far in these other videos, it's about putting an ad on Facebook, and then people fill out information, it sends you the info. Now you have their info. What do? Right? Do you just pick up a phone and call them? Do you shoot them a personal email? Everyone has their own way of doing it. But if you want to be successful long term, you got to build yourself an email campaign. And email campaigns can be built very simply. There's an unlimited amount of companies online that provide email marketing applications that, as these leads come in, they go into those applications and then they automatically trigger these emails, right? And part of what we do in our company is help customers with this, so we can talk about those further in detail. But generally speaking, you need to get these leads that come from Facebook into an email campaign, right? They're called a lot of different things. They're called email marketing applications. They're called drip campaigns. The bottom line is that as soon as that lead comes in, it should trigger the initial email, right? Thank you for the information. Then over the next 2 weeks, what we do is we like to send an email every other day. We don't want to bombard them every day, but every other day. And every other day, we're providing them some type of value. And that value may be as basic as, hey, here's a quick little story that I heard about this. What do you think? To, hey, here's this new product on the market. It's phenomenal for this particular age group. Or, hey, have you thought about or have you heard about some of the changes in life insurance policies since COVID-19? Things that may just, spark curiosity, but you're not trying to sell them. And what you're trying to do is just layer a couple weeks of information, give them the opportunity to get back to you, right? You can do that in a couple different ways. You can add like a calendar link right on. So maybe if they want to set up a call and talk about their policies or lack thereof policies, they can click on that and set something up on a calendar. It's real simple and free. You can just say, hey, shoot me an email. I'd love to answer any questions you have. You can ask, have them call you, put your phone number on there. So you're giving them the opportunity to get back to you, but you're not shoving a product down. And then what happens is after you get 4, 5 emails, so I usually say, about a week and a half or so of just this information you're providing, that's when you start tailoring it towards a particular product. And depending on who you're advertising to, you're going to know who that is, right? So if you're advertising to, 25 and 35-year-old new parents, maybe it's a term life policy of 100 or 250,000, and you just want to close a bunch of smaller products, right? If this is a more sophisticated customer that maybe you're selling to a higher net worth customer, and those are the leads on Facebook you're going after, or the demographic you picked, maybe it's whole life products with living benefits, and there's a plethora of information you can provide customers like that, because those products are pretty detailed and can be quite complex, and a lot of people don't understand them. So depending on who you're marketing to is going to determine the type of product you start gearing them towards. But at the beginning, you're not gearing them towards any product. You're just providing them basic information about you, getting them to know you. I have clients that will embed videos, little videos that instead of writing out a little story, tell a quick story about what just happened or where he just came from, or a story that he was just, gone fishing with his kids and what happened or what he saw. Just something anecdotal, maybe funny, something that just kind of makes you real to them. So they start trusting who you are when these emails come in. When to close? you're closing what I meant before in ABC. You're closing in every email. You're just not closing the product. Okay, you're closing on the relationship. Value versus sale. You gotta provide the value to these customers, because here's the thing: you don't want to send an email and go, "Hey, John, life insurance is really great. I want to make sure in case you need life insurance, you call me." There's absolutely zero value there, right? Customers are going to look at that and think, okay, I didn't really ask for life insurance, and I don't even really understand what this is, right? If I want life insurance, I'll go somewhere else. Instead of coming to them as an expert, as someone that you're building a relationship with, as someone you're trying to almost have a friendship with, and say, "Hey, Mary, I just want to tell you what happened the other day. This is what happened. It was really funny, and hey, we're doing this. We're doing these question and answers on this particular product. So if you know anyone or any of your family that has any questions on these particular products, shoot me an email, and we're putting together a bunch of questions that we're going to have answered and send them out to everybody." Just something like that, casual, right? You're not asking for money. You're not telling them to go fill out an application. You're not even saying, "Hey, I'll send you a quote." You're saying, you're engaging them, right? You're just saying, "Hey, we're doing this thing here. Maybe you can benefit from it," but it gets them to read it. It gets them to see into you a little more, which just kind of solidifies that relationship. At the end of the day, the insurance business is about relationships. I built a big insurance business solely on relationships. I understand the value of widgets, and I understand the value of being a numbers game. But the true value of building a business is the relationships, right? Because at the beginning of my career, it was just about how many cars can I add? How many houses can I add? How many life products can I add? And what I didn't understand is that by adding this car, right, it wasn't about adding the car. It was about adding the car, building the relationship, adding the home, building a relationship, adding the umbrella, building the relationship, adding the 529s for the kids, building a relationship, adding the life insurance products, building a relationship. And so now all of a sudden, a little tiny premium Toyota Camry, turned into a very large premium household. And I learned that it was the relationship that got me there. It wasn't the price. It wasn't the company. It was the relationship, right? And that's what you guys have to face every day in this business. And the reason why I really enjoy talking about this stuff is because I know the insurance business very well. Okay. Last one, quality versus quantity. Every email has a purpose. And I know I talk about this thing as like you're just putting out this little anecdotal story or this little thing, but it has a purpose. And that purpose is engaging, and that purpose is adding a little more or another block into that relationship, right? Quality and quantity are both important, right? I say that because clearly quality of the email, like quality of the intent and what you're trying to accomplish, is important, because the relationship is the most important thing, but not necessarily equally, but incredibly important also is the quantity, meaning you need to keep these emails going. You need to keep sending them out, right? You need to keep building on them, because eventually you're going to get to the point where you are trying to close them on a product, right? You're going to get there, but you got to put in the work in the beginning to build this up. So you follow the path, right? You follow the path from thank you for your interest to, hey, here's who I am, to, hey, let me tell you a funny story about what happened, to, hey, have you ever thought about this, to, hey, we're doing this thing. Is there any information we can help you get answered, to, hey, I have customers right now that are, because of this whole crisis we're living through right now, they're doing these campaigns specifically like, hey, Mr. Customer, and these are not customers of theirs, these are leads, but hey, John, I just want to let you know that we're trying to provide food for those in need, or those businesses that have been closed, to some of these business owners that are in need, face masks, gloves, things like this. Do you know of any businesses that might need help? Do you know of any people that may need help, or families that may need help? Please let me know. We'll be happy to reach out to them. And basically what we're doing is, it's not that we're taking advantage of the system, we're providing value for them. We're saying, hey, here's an opportunity for us to do something good. At the same time, it's to show that, hey, we want to build this relationship with you, and we're really trying to help the community. And that's what it's about. And they're getting tremendous feedback, and they're following through, and they're donating. And guess what? When they're donating these face masks and this food, at the same time they're meeting new people. That these people are going to be indebted to them and remember what they did. And eventually, when things turn around, they're going to become customers of them as well. So I implore you to follow the path, to keep it going, keep filling the funnel, right? And keep letting the funnel run. Success will be there. I promise you. Thanks a lot. Have a great, great day. Bye-bye.